again for tuning back into the show. We're so happy to have you here. You remember my husband Larry from last week. We have him back again. This is going to be a Tuesday thing, so if you like what you got going on here, subscribe to the list. It's LYSST. The link is in the show notes. And that's my exclusive club for mompreneurs, moms, business owners. And in there, I'm going to share weekly episode updates, blogs, and exclusive deals just for you guys because I love you so much. This week, we're going to dive into mindset. And more specifically, like what's in your head and how do you choose growth. So let's dive in.
Let's go.
So, Larry, I know that we have been struggling a lot lately with scarcity mindset. And we were having that talk actually today about you feeling a lot of scarcity and lack. So let's share with the group what you've been feeling and how we're trying to work through it.
This week has been kind of a rough one, mindset-wise, for me. Just looking at bills and some debts that we have that are just kind of there. It's not the end of the world, but just seeing them, and as we're spending time trying to grow as much as we are, it gets difficult to not just want to go work 6 days a week at my 9 to 5 to try and pay off our bills instead of spending our time creating and building our own empire.
Definitely.
So
it's a lack of security kind of feeling.
Yes. Not being able to take the plunge of fully committing to ourselves.
Yeah, I understand that. And I know that he is 100% the sole provider for our family. Everything that we earn from our businesses right now is just feeding more growth for future. So we really haven't taken any money out of our businesses. Even though they're earning money, it's just we're not seeing it because we keep feeding it into other things. So all of our money from Garden in the Pines has gone into creating Jersey Strike and the branding and everything else that we've got going on. So it's a lot of stress that he's feeling because at the end of the day, we still have to pay our bills and we're trying to navigate leaving his job full-time and coming into the businesses full-time, but also not feeling super secure in that feeling.
Yeah, luckily, the guy that I work for is really working with me. I'm going to be on part-time, so I have more time to do our things, which will be nice, while still having that little bit of a security blanket that I'll still be receiving a paycheck every week, which I know is something that we don't like to preach because we want everyone to be an entrepreneur and to grow and be for themselves. But in the beginning phases and the interim of your growth, you want to have some sort of security, at least to keep the lights on.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think that's important to keep in mind is that at the end of the day, we still all need to, survive and put food on the table. If you have kids like we do, like we've got a lot of daycare expenses and stuff like that. So trying to navigate those income streams and also have time to grow the businesses can be really challenging. So we wanted to share some of the things that we're doing and at least the way that we're trying to think about it so that if you guys are going through it, maybe relates to you and can help you a little bit. So last night we were talking quite a bit and Larry was really, really low mindset wise. And some of the things that we were trying to think about were like more of an optimistic, like how can we take control of the situation? How can we turn our businesses into really rapidly growing empires? So some of the things that we were talking about were with Jersey Strike, what could we be doing to try to get more bookings? What could we be doing to be top of mind for the florists and event designers and everybody that will want to hire us? So last night we went and he created thank you notes and just like thinking of you little cards for everybody that we've worked with just so that we stay top of mind with them when they need us. And a busy season is hopefully coming up in September and October. We anticipate it being really busy for everybody. It is for Garden in the Pines, so I would assume it would be for other floral designers. So sending them in August, they're starting to plan for these events and will hopefully keep us in mind. So something else we were talking about last night is Larry's going to be starting his own YouTube channel and it's going to be motorcycle based and something that he's really passionate about. And we know that there's a market out there, so trying to get that off the ground also is, a challenge with time. So he's been feeling kind of a scarcity mindset that maybe it's not a good fit or maybe he can't be successful with that. So we were trying to talk through that.
Yeah. My biggest, mental block or mindset barrier was just that since it's not already being a thing for me, it's something new, something I've never done. My thought is like, why put in the effort if I don't know what the return is going to be or when it's going to be? And I know that's the whole point of being a creator and building anything is you don't know what the final product is going to be until you're there. And I was in my head a lot thinking, like, who's going to watch my stuff? And there's already so much content out there, but it doesn't matter because people watch anything.
They watch people mowing the grass. They watch people power washing. They watch Dr. Pimple Popper. Like, they'll watch anything that you create too. So, like, this is what we were trying to work through last night. And I know that we had talked about it last week quite a bit with, like, the scarcity mindsets and that it doesn't matter how many people are in the industry because there's no you. They want to see you. So he was experiencing that last night and we were trying to work through it. And ultimately, we come to the conclusion that he just needs to do it.
Yeah.
And the sooner that he starts and really starts to make some moves to bring it to life, and the more that he does it, of course, the more he's going to learn, the better it's going to get, the more comfortable he's going to be on camera or talking, because that's something you hate the sound of your voice.
Oh my God. I won't even watch our own videos. Like, our views, you won't see me in there because I hate seeing myself on the screen and hearing my own voice. It's not for me. No, I'm here for you guys.
Yeah, it's true. So that's, like, you're not alone if you're feeling these things. But at the end of the day, like, we're just like you. We're just trying to start these things. And ultimately, like, it's just being consistent and sticking through it, outlasting the competition. I was listening to another podcast. It was Chris and Lori Harder's show. And they had Eric Thomas on, and he was talking about this. And if you haven't listened to that, please go listen to it because I've probably listened to it about 100 times since it came out like 2 weeks ago. But one of the things that they're talking about is the consistency, will over skill. And if you have the determination and overall just the mindset to power through it, you're going to be far more successful than somebody that just is naturally talented, like on camera or on the microphone. If they're not consistently showing up, they're not going to see results. And you will if you're consistent. Yeah,
and something to kind of play into that is that there are so many people that are in the headspace that I'm in that why even start? Why even bother? Or they'll make a handful of videos and say, oh, I'm not getting any views, and they stop. And they could have had a great thing, but there's no consistency. It's not weekly content. It's not, fresh topics. It's just giving up because
you get in your own head. You get in your own way.
Yep.
This is what we were talking about too last night was he just needs to get out of his own way and just do it. Like,
stop making excuses, make the time, and just do it.
Mm-hmm. So if you guys are experiencing some of these feelings, ultimately, like, it's your own mindset that's in the way. And this quicker that you're able to change that mindset and really acknowledge it for what it is and just say, okay, Alyssa, okay, Larry, I understand how you're feeling, but we're going to do it anyway. And just doing it anyway and actually following through and making the effort to do the thing.
Yeah, big time. And I've been having a hard time with that just because, like I've been saying, I do work almost every day and that'll be slowing down soon as I switch to being part-time. But just finding the time to do it and making it meaningful and not BS around and everything like that. Like, just get it done.
Yep. So something else that we've been really trying to work through and figure out is where we should be putting our time. What's the biggest priorities. So one of the things that we do in our floral design business is preservation. And we've been going back and forth with the idea of do we just discontinue it? Because at this point and where we're at, it's not the biggest moneymaker. And we're it
takes a lot of time.
Yeah. So it's is it worth the time that we're putting in to actually do it? And that's something we're still trying to navigate and figure out. And it might be a little bit too early in the process for us to make that decision right now. But it's in the back of our heads that if it's not picking up and we keep putting in the work to do it, maybe that's not the right course for us. And we should listen to what's bringing more money in.
Yeah. On the other side of the coin for that, though, is that we just started. I practiced for a good few months before we started taking orders.
Mm-hmm.
And even on the first few orders, there was a couple hiccups that I'm ironing out, but it's only been the first few orders. So right now it feels like it's a lot of time and a lot of effort, but a lot of that time and effort is spent fixing mistakes of, the first handful of orders.
Yeah, that's true.
The ones that are coming up now are actually, done sooner than the first handful that were placed just because I kind of got it down. So I think we got to see it through a little bit longer.
Yeah. So that's something that we're really trying to track, make sure that we're measuring, how long it takes for us to get the projects done, how quickly we're able to turn it around, how much time it's actually taking, so that we can measure it. So maybe next year we can reevaluate that question and say, okay, it's actually doing a lot better than when we first started.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep growing it. Let's see where it's going. Or we might say, you know what, like, we're swamped with weddings and events. We're swamped with strike events. Maybe this is something that we put off to the side.
It's eating too much of our time, and it's not worth the amount that we're getting paid for it.
Exactly. So I think that's something to, like, take away, too. If you're working on creating something, just stay on top of your numbers. Stay on top of, like, the time that you're putting into it. Track your time so that you know exactly what you're doing with it, so that you'll be able to measure that and really grow your business how you want to.
And also tracking your products, too. If you're using something expendable, like for our resin, we order it in gallons, and just make sure that we're properly charging for the amount of product that we use, all the molds. There's a bunch of extra stuff that goes into stuff like that needs to be accounted for.
Yeah, for sure. So let's reel it back a little bit, because we got a little bit off track. At the end of the day, this episode, like, we just want to drive home that you need to get out of your own head. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, you're the only person standing in the way.
Yeah, big time. And talking about it helps, kind of airing it out, definitely helps pull you out of it a little bit. And it's something you just got to work on every day when you have those blocks. Push them aside and say, this is the way. This is how we do it. This is where we're headed. And just keep pushing forward. And sometimes it's those limiting beliefs that hold you back in your comfort zone, but you don't grow there. You need to be uncomfortable to grow.
That's huge. Yeah, I love that. Let's say that again. You don't grow in your comfort zone, and your limiting beliefs keep you there. So as soon as you're able to get out of that comfort zone, that's where the real growth is going to happen. So for us, that means when he leaves his job, like, we're going to have extreme growth, because
we're going to be extremely uncomfortable.
We will for a little while, but it'll be really amazing to see how quickly, like, things really grow as soon as you do.
Yeah.
So whatever that means for you, whether that means getting up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym so that you're able to get the results you want physically, whether that means spending more money on healthy food instead of takeout, or whatever it is for you.
Yeah. Whatever your block is, work at getting over it, because if you feel resistance, it means you're going in the right direction. For sure.
Let's end it there. That's really great.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning into the show. Follow us below. I'm going to add a little thing so that you can see our usernames. It's atlas.morton on Instagram and TikTok, and @MortMotoShow is Larry's handle on Instagram.
Instagram and YouTube.
And YouTube. Yeah, I'll tag all the links in the show notes so you're able to see them. But we so appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you don't mind taking a screenshot or sharing on Instagram, tagging us, both of us, so that we're able to see your biggest takeaway, name maybe your biggest mindset block, how you plan to overcome it. We'd love to see it. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.